You might be thinking, it's just an egg, but it isn't. It's so much more. This is a triumph of evolutionary adaptation. It's what we in the biological trade call an amniotic egg, and they're laid by birds, in this case of course a chicken, but also crocodiles, lizards, snakes and turtles, and clearly it's moved on from those rather simple jelly eggs laid by the amphibians. This is formed to keep the interior safe and secure, to protect it from the hostile external environment. You could think of it as a little spacecraft. Let's break it down. Let's first consider what we might call the capsule, the shell. It's made of calcium carbonate, which is both strong and light. Now it needs to be strong, obviously, to protect the developing embryo on the inside, but it needs to be sufficiently light that that embryo can break out of it. But it needs another quality too. Quite clearly, the developing embryo needs to breathe. It needs a gaseous exchange system, very spacecraft, and it's got one. Because on a chicken egg like this, there can be as many as 20,000 tiny pores, tiny holes, which allow the waste carbon dioxide to move out of the egg and the essential oxygen to move into it. It's a fantastic thing. That's the capsule. Let's go inside the spaceship, and if I gently tap it on the top here, this is a tough one, there we are, maybe use this tool to remove some of the shell. I haven't done this for a few years, but might be able to see this grey membrane that we can see entirely lines the inside of the egg, and it's got a couple of key functions. Firstly, it acts as a barrier to protect the egg from any infections, any pathogens or microbes that might sneak through those pores. Also, equally essentially, it's waterproof. It's going to stop the egg from drying out whilst it develops. It's quite tricky to get this off, but there we are. But now let's get into the egg proper. Not the best of cooks, and of course I don't actually eat eggs, but I'll do my best to break that into the dish. There we are. Now you're all familiar with that. That's the white and the yolk. Let's consider the white first. We call that the albumen. But look at it, it's very thick, gloopy, viscous. And this is because it acts as the spacecraft's shock absorber. It holds the developing embryo in place and it protects it from any bumps that it might otherwise experience. And then of course you've got the yolk. That's the food supply inside our spaceship. It's got that beautiful yellow colour, and I can tell you it's one of the most nutritious substances on our planet. It's packed full of fat, cholesterols, minerals and vitamins. Everything that the young bird needs to grow inside the egg. And if this were a fertilised egg, we'd see that embryo here and another couple of membranes, one called the allantois, that's the equivalent to our spaceship's waste disposal unit, and another one called the amnion, that wraps around the embryo throughout the course of its development and further protects it. So what we've got here is a far more sophisticated egg than those jelly masses of the amphibians. It's got its capsule, it's got its waste disposal, it's got its food supply, it's got its oxygen exchange, and critically, it's got all the water that it requires for that young bird to grow. So, animals that lay amniotic eggs like this don't need to return to the water. This is like a pond on dry land.